happy howling with laughter while watching our bonus episode, Halloween. I'm Spooky Maddie, and this is Anomalous, bonus episode October 2020. Trick or eat your heart out, coronavirus.
Trick or eat your heart out. Welcome to Halloween 2020 bonus episode Anomalous. This Halloween, we're handing out spooky tales of things that frighten us and coughed on Snickers bars.
Yup. Welcome back to Anomalous, the show where we get spooky on this Halloween season and on all other seasons before and after and during.
I pre-pissed my pants for this episode in preparation to be scared.
Today we're talking about things that frighten us to our core.
We decided to do a top 5 from Spooky Maddie and Just Cullen of things that scare us, excluding pandemic-related topics.
Yeah, that's a little too on the nose.
It's called an evergreen show and presumably someday will be released from this hell.
I assume that at some point when we commit more and it's not just like 2 days before the episode goes out and we're like, what are we doing? Are we going to record? That we will do episodes on a lot of these things. So stay tuned, get hype.
Yeah, you can think of these as like little pre-snippets for topics that we're going to cover later in the show. So let's get to Spooky Maddie and then Cullen just sort of back and forth, feel it out, you know?
So first on my list of Spooky Maddie's spoopiest spoops. Is that cute? Is that kawaii?
Yeah, spoopiest spoops is it's as cute as it is original.
Thank you. Wait a second. Okay, so the first thing that really scares me is doppelgangers.
Oh.
I'm not talking like a Nina Dobrev, Victoria Justice type thing. Like celebs that look similar.
Of course.
No, I'm not talking about that. So there's like a few theories that someone's doppelganger, which is obviously someone who looks just exactly like you, pretty much is you. There's theories that it's like the person's shadow self or their phantom self. Or there's theories that it's like the person bilocating, like they're literally in two places at once using some sort of mental astral powers.
Is that under their control?
You know, I don't know. I think there are probably some people that are really into like metaphysical stuff who probably say they can bilocate on their control. But a lot of the stories I've seen, it's not under their control. And in fact, doppelgangers are an omen of bad luck, and it is often said that if you see your doppelganger, it's a sign that you are going to die. Something that you will see some very serious undertones of in this episode of Things I'm Scared About is I have obsessive compulsive disorder.
Very good.
I also have generalized anxiety disorder. And technically major depressive disorder. So I'm scared of a lot of things. And my OCD brain, if I saw a doppelganger, it's over, man.
Oh my God.
It's something that scares me a lot.
So you're just walking along the street and see an exact copy of yourself, like turn a corner?
A lot of people see it that way, so it's just you kind of vaguely see in the mist, you know.
Could be your brain filling in like the details of someone you barely saw.
It could be like a curse. So doppelgangers, I have a few famous examples. One of the most famous that you'll get is Emily Sachet, like back in the olden days in France. She was a school teacher and she was writing on a chalkboard, and then there was just like another her doing the same motions but without chalk. She had 13 students who all witnessed this, and apparently it would follow her around for like most of her days. And so this case is often thought of as an example of bilocation.
Is there any chance that this is one of those pranks that teachers like to pull on their children that got out of hand and reported on? Because when I was in second grade, my teacher and another teacher decided to pull an April Fool's prank where they told everyone that, like, they were switching teachers. So, like, one class would go to the other teacher and the other teacher's class would go to them. But everyone from my class was just really happy because we got switched to the good teacher, and everyone from her class was really sad because they got switched to our teacher, and it ended up just hurting Mr. Barraza's feelings really badly.
That's sad.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Emily Saggy had an April Fool's joke. I don't think she was, like, the first European impractical joker, if that's what you're...
She'd be great on the team. They need a fifth. They honestly do.
So another popular doppelganger story is also from old-timey Europe. Guy de Maupassant.
Wow. When I told you to research this, you just were like, what's the hardest names I can force myself to attempt to say?
Yeah, so Guy de Maupassant.
So we've got Mrs. Saggy and Mr. Maupassant.
Yep.
Great.
So Mr. Maupassant, he was a writer, and one time he was writing in his study as he did,
Sure.
and him, like his doppelganger, walked into the study, sat down, also started writing, and told him what to write about. And he was obviously a little shook to his core. He ended up dying from suicide, I think, after a brief stint in the mental hospital. And some people suggest that it was psychosis brought on by childhood syphilis. But what if it was a doppelganger?
I think that more accurate than the very well-documented phenomenon of psychosis brought on by syphilis is definitely that an exact doppelganger of him came in, and his death wasn't a suicide, it was the doppelganger killing him. But it was so accurate to how he would have done it that it was ruled a suicide, because he did do it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he technically did kill himself, but it was his doppelganger, because there were two of him.
Can I just say I'm absolutely shocked that you've gotten this far in the whole doppelganger thing without bringing up the question that you asked me every single day for the first 3 months of us dating, which is, if you saw an exact twin of yourself, would you have sex with them?
Would you?
No, again, because it's a guy.
I don't know. It's something to think about.
You just can't compute that non-bisexual people exist.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
Just open your mind.
Okay, imagine Alfred Hitchcock's face and body. Do you have any attraction to him whatsoever?
He's one of my favorite directors.
I'm not saying whether he was good at making scary movies. I'm saying, are you attracted to Alfred Hitchcock?
What do you want me to say, Cullen?
The truth?
I don't think you want to hear the truth. Can you say Jason Segel?
Are you attracted to Jason Segel?
No.
Well, imagine half of the population look like Jason Segel. That's what it's like to be straight or gay.
That's fair.
But also some Jason Segels look better than others, and you can recognize that, but impartially. It's odd.
Yeah, you could be like, Jason Segel's a good actor.
Yeah. That Jason Segel over there has a good nose and lip ratio. He's still not my cup of tea, but I can acknowledge that he's superior to other Jason Segels.
That's fair. I never thought of it that way. Let us know if you would mess around with your doppelganger.
Let us know if you'd give Jason Segel a rim job on our Instagram.
My god. Oh my god. Christ. Yeah, I also vaguely remember being traumatized by all the scary shows I used to watch. One was a modern day story of this lady who would always go to the park and do yoga. And one time her, evil twin...
You know what I'm gonna say about this. She went to the park to do yoga, and there was an identical white woman next to her that was indistinguishable not only to every onlooker, but them themselves couldn't tell each other apart.
But she was on a rock. How did she get on the rock?
How did she get on the rock? That's fair enough.
And she was like the evil version of her, because instead of wearing a white yoga shirt, she wore a black yoga shirt.
Oh my god. What a coup de grace story of your three. Terrifying teacher, tormented by a writer killed by his doppelganger, and then just sort of a lady who did yoga, but there was another lady that did yoga that looked like her, but not the same shirt.
Yep.
Very
the most spine-chilling of them all.
We told you we'd bring the scares this Halloween.
All right.
Would you like to go on to mine?
Yeah.
All right. So for the first thing that really scares me, I'd say like bodily injury, you know? Like getting hurt. Pain would be bad. Pain's scary. Ooh, a disease would be, like a really bad disease would be shitty.
How is this fair? Just
okay, are you afraid of getting a disease?
Yeah, I'm afraid of a lot of things.
Are you afraid of like getting a cut on your hand or like twisting your ankle?
Sure.
Well. Okay, what's your second one then?
Okay, so my second one, which I think we have hinted at before, is cursed objects.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say food poisoning from Dunkin' Donuts.
That would never happen.
That would never happen.
Dunkin' is a quality establishment.
Taste this real quick. That coffee kind of tastes like hot butt water, doesn't it?
That's terrible.
That's the worst cup of coffee they've ever given me.
They're pissed off that you keep getting free drinks.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. I got that super expensive free macchiato, and they're like, the coffee he's paying for is going to taste like downriver from Seattle.
I could see that. Okay, so cursed objects. Obviously, Robert the doll.
Who we've covered extensively, and it pretty scary.
It is pretty scary. Annabelle, I think we'll cover at some point.
Sure, yeah.
So I used to read religiously, like instead of the Bible, it would be Ripley's Believe It or Not books.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of talk of cursed objects in those, and one thing I remember is the Hope Diamond. That's scary.
Basically just like a big fancy diamond that people have like stolen at times or like bought from each other, and almost everyone who owned it died, right?
Yeah, I think.
I mean, is it mostly old people selling off the diamond and then quickly dying afterwards?
I don't know, it's so extensive, you know, like every single owner, pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's scary.
That's fair.
There is a haunted chair.
Is it the ones we're in right now?
No!
Oh, okay.
A haunted chair, so someone who was on death row, I think.
That's just called an electric chair.
No, before he was put to death, he was like, whoever sits on that chair, I'ma kill him.
Oh my god.
So now it's in a museum high up on the wall so no one can sit on it.
He just picked some chair that he remembered and decided that that would be like his lasting memory, is saying that a chair is haunted and pointing at a chair.
Yeah.
And then everyone sort of believed it. Can you just ask for anything for your final dinner and they have to give it to you? Like,
yes.
Like most people choose a dinner, but you can ask for anything.
Oh, no.
Like it's a final request.
No, you have to do food. It's a food related.
What would yours be?
Unlimited breadsticks from Olive Garden, and then I just keep eating them and I delay my execution.
Mine would be a duffel bag full of cheese curds.
Oh, that sounds delicious, quite honestly.
Yeah, and then when they electrocute me, my insides would tune into like a fondue pot.
Wow. Amazing.
Amazing.
So, cursed objects scare me a lot. If you ask Cullen, pretty much everywhere we go, even if it's a Walmart, I'll be like, do you think this is cursed?
Going into a Goodwill with you is a nightmare. You love to go through the knick-knack section, but you refuse to pick anything up for fear that this, like, 1992 lawn gnome is gonna be haunted by the spirit of a criminal.
Yes. I get very scared. It's to the point where creepypastas about cursed objects scare me something good.
Yeah.
Like Ben Drowned or the Lavender Town
They're
theme.
not even well-written stories.
It scares me a lot.
Remember when we were doing research a couple weeks ago for the Robert the Doll episodes, and I was like, hey, Maddie, check out this thing I found on Google Images, and you looked over, and it was this horrifying painting, and you were like, that's from a website that says top 10 most cursed paintings.
Yeah, so let me get into it. Particularly haunted paintings scare me so bad, because it's like, what if you look?
We went to a gallery once, and you asked if some of the paintings were haunted, or statues.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I keep this MF thing on me, and it's holy water.
MF thing?
Yeah.
What?
You haven't seen that? It's like, I keep the motherfucking thing on me, and it's a gun.
You carry a gun to shoot haunted paintings?
No, I'm saying the thing that I carry is holy water.
Oh! I think a gun would be more effective to shoot the haunted painting.
Maybe.
So, would you like to hear my second one?
Yeah.
I think this will be more towards your tastes. Sorry that I wasn't on with the last one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty worried about, like, getting into, like, a lot of debt. Like, debt is scary, especially in America. Because debtors' prisons were a thing. You can't buy a house if your credit score is too low.
This is...
Like, credit card debt is bad.
I mean, on one hand, it seems like you didn't understand the purpose of this video whatsoever.
It was things that scare us.
Moving past that, just even though I'm going to have a talk with you after this, you're not going to go into debt. That's not even...
Well, I mean, what if I did? What if I woke up and I was like, oh, I forgot to pay my credit card, and there was like, it went for a couple months. That'd be scary. I'll try harder on the next one.
Yeah, maybe you just go back to the drawing board.
I'll work on mine while you do your next one.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, good. Okay. Skinwalkers.
Oh my god.
So skinwalkers are a part of Native American beliefs, specifically Navajo, and in Navajo they are called Yinal. Okay.
You're doing this to yourself again?
In Navajo, they are called Yinald. Wait, hold on. In Navajo, they are called Yinaldalashi.
I can't praise you or reprimand you at all because there's no way either of us know how to actually say that.
I mean, I looked up the pronunciation.
Fair enough, yeah. You definitely got it then.
Which means something along the lines of, like, because of it, it walks on 4 legs.
Oh. I actually translated it through Google and it said, the one that walks of skin.
No.
Okay.
So skinwalkers are a part of Navajo culture. From what we know, they are healers that become corrupt. So healers are taught both good magic and bad magic. And skinwalkers are a type of witch. Witches become, when they choose the dark magic, the evil magic, and become corrupt. These evil witches can shapeshift into various animals, and coyote is one of the more common ones.
Way at the bottom of the list of things I'd turn into if able to.
I think in Navajo culture, coyotes are kind of like tricksters, and
Coyotes just eat our trash and get hit by cars all the time. It's not really tricky.
we live in the suburbs.
Yeah.
I think that's very different.
What is name a better place for tricks?
What?
Name a better place to play little japes on people than the suburbs.
I guess the suburbs are fun.
Yeah.
But skinwalkers can shapeshift into a variety of animals, pretty much any animal. And the fear is that they'll take your body, they'll take your skin, and it is said that if you make eye contact with them or you look at them, then they can possess you.
Oh, so it's a possession of you more than just like the doppelganger thing, just looking like you. They take over your body? Interesting.
Yeah, and I think I have heard that it pretty much turns you into a skinwalker.
I see. Interesting to know. When you say part of Navajo culture, it means it's like part of the mythos, but it's generally a taboo topic.
Yeah, so a few things on that. If you talk about a skinwalker, it tends to show the skinwalker where you are.
Ah, skinwalker!
Oh my god! But also Navajo people don't really talk to non-indigenous people about it, which is completely fair.
Makes sense.
They don't really want us to know, which is fair. They don't owe us their beliefs.
Sure.
So yeah, there's still a lot of mystery behind it for us white folk, but it is something that has kind of been ingrained to me in that my mother was born and raised in northern Arizona, right off Navajo Nation. And obviously a lot of native indigenous people lived in her town. So her small town had a lot of native culture. And you know what? It's scary.
It is frightening.
Okay, so whenever we go there, I mean, you've been to northern Arizona, the forests, especially at night, they're so dense. It's really easy for me to frightfully imagine, like, a skinwalker.
There's nothing quite like running like headlights or a flashlight among trees because you're always, no matter what, convinced that like the next few feet you shine past, there's going to be something there.
It's scary.
Yeah. And also, if you were going to be a skinwalker who needs to hide away and like switch forms in order to evade, presumably there's some cool Navajo witch hunters, you would pick the forest. You would pick somewhere covered and ooky spooky.
I'm just saying, yeah, when I travel through northern Arizona, it's something that can easily see, and that's why it scares me a lot. Also recommend for this spooky season, again, I'm gonna recommend it again, The Only Good Indians as a book. Read it.
Well, very good, very scary.
Yes.
I can't wait to have to think about skinwalkers for hours on end while I edit this. So that's going to be fun for me. But I think I've been writing here in my notebook. I think I've workshopped like a good third. This one does scare me. All right? You ready? Crime.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. So, like, disappearances, serial killers.
Well, yeah, in a way. I mean, those aren't like super likely to happen to me, like realistically. In general, serial killers are like really, really rare. I was more like people running red lights. Because like I could be in a car and what if they hit the car? Or if I'm in a crosswalk, they run a red light and it's just like...
Traffic violations?
Yeah. Or what about identity theft? That's scary. And that ties back into my second one, the debt. That happens to people all the time. It happened to my dad like twice, 3 times.
Wasn't your dad trying to buy, like, an authentic sword?
Doesn't matter. Point is, identity theft happens all the time. It can happen, even they just, like, spend tens of thousands. And what if it's on, like, a debit card that isn't insured? So is that a good one?
No.
Did you like that one better?
I mean, you had me in the first half, not gonna lie, but...
Okay. Yeah, no, I thought getting hit by a car and, like... your identity stolen was scary. That's scary to me. But...
Well, but that's not... This is a Halloween episode.
Yeah, it could happen on Halloween. You're in a dark costume. I think it's pretty scary. But I'll hear what your next one is.
Yeah, why don't you just kind of go off of, like, what I'm doing? You know? Just kind of that
call
idea.
and response.
Yeah, do you understand?
Yeah, no, I think I do. I've been doing pretty good.
Okay, yeah, I think you can redeem yourself.
No, yeah, I mean, step it up from where I'm already at, like, this high level.
Well, why don't you try workshopping again?
Okay.
And workshopping in a different way.
I can do even better.
Yeah.
That seemed...
All right, okay. So for my fourth one... kind of is just more based on my anxiety disorders and obsessive compulsive disorder than anything. Like, skinwalkers are very scary. Annabelle's very scary. But I personally am very scared of psychics.
You're just psychics in general?
Fortune tellers, I think, in particular. I tend to avoid anything kind of metaphysical, like tarot cards.
Yeah, you don't even like tarot. Despite all of the spooky stores that we like to go to together, tarot cards you always avoid. Any of those like fun psychic fortune telling things. Why is that?
I'm scared they're gonna tell me I'm gonna die.
I mean, what if one of the cards is just like, you'll die eventually? That's a 1-to-1. That's the easiest fortune to tell.
That's fair. I haven't even looked up my full horoscope.
You love horoscopes. Yeah, that's fortune telling, isn't it?
So they can pretty much find the exact position of like all the planetary bodies when you were born, and they all together make a very specific horoscope, and one of it kind of says like how you're likely to die and when. Have not looked into that.
Wouldn't it be like really easily trackable to see like all of the people born on the exact same small window? Because like a couple kids are born every few minutes.
Oh, but it also depends on where you are.
So the 2 factors are the stars and planets being 1 billion miles this way or that way in the sky, or a couple like 1,000 miles on the Earth here and there.
Well, the couple thousand miles where you are changes the miles that the planetary bodies are on.
Yeah, but by such a small amount that it's completely negligible.
Either way, I'm not gonna look into it. I'll check my daily horoscope.
All right.
But I think there is... maybe people won't take this as seriously because there are a lot of con artists who kind of give the psychics a bad name.
Mm-hmm. We started watching maybe 20 minutes of this Hulu show.
Psychic Kids.
Psychic Kids, where idiot teenagers who know nothing tell children who know even less that their traumas that they're trying to work through and need therapy for are actually magical powers. that make them abnormal.
That is rough.
We made about 15 minutes in before I got so angry we had to stop.
But things like fortune telling, I think just kind of being in the area of magic, I fear that, it won't do good things for me.
I guess, but I still don't understand. I guess in a horoscope, you're never going to open up page 7 and see like, Pisces, you're going to die in a week.
Yeah.
They never give that the pass into the old black and whites.
Yeah. So when I'm talking about these fears, they're very deeply ingrained. If I get a fortune cookie without a fortune, I'll try to avoid opening it. But if I do open it and it doesn't have a fortune, I will be scared I'm going to die and then have like a panic attack.
Oh, God. Just means the factory messed up.
Well, so going along with that, just being in the area, I will steer very clear of psychics. Like I'll cross the street because I don't want them to pick up.
How do you visually identify a psychic?
No, like usually they'll have a sign.
Oh, I see. So at the Ren Fair, you sort of carve out the correct path to avoid all of the different like palm readers and stuff.
And you've seen that before. I'm just like, oh no, because I fear that they'll like...
like as you're walking by, they're going to shout out the window, "Hey miss, you're going to get hit by a car in a month."
Yeah.
They would never do that. First of all, if they were able to tell just by you walking by and they're just like, "I'm on my lunch break, but I decided that maybe I'd look into her fortune a little bit," that they'd give you that free reading. They want the money for it. They want the cash.
That's true, but I just fear that, like, maybe I do have an overwhelming energy of something bad. And there's a lot of movies where they're like, oh my gosh, I just have to, like, this vision has just shook me to my core. I need to warn you.
I mean, you do have an overwhelming aura of some kind. We've walked by doctors in the street and they've been like, "Have you not pooped for 5 days? I can tell from your physique that you haven't pooped for 5 days."
It's normal. People either poop multiple times a day or once a week.
You have the eating and defecating schedule of a tree sloth.
It's true. And personality.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, my favorite animal. If I'm gonna be completely honest, it stems from when I was in 4th grade and my best friend read my palm and said I was gonna die young.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say that they did the old trick where they say, "And this is where the pool is," and they spit in your palm. Because I could understand that developing into a wider fear.
I think, when we started dating, I had a little anxious moment about it, and then you had to, like, read my palm and be like, "No, it's a long lifeline."
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
I knew about that lifeline stuff because I did get a palm reading that my aunt forced me to go to when I was in Phoenix once.
Is that true?
Yeah, that is true. They said I was going to reconnect with a past friend. So, I've been hanging out with Darian a lot. I haven't talked to that dude in like 8 years.
Yeah. You've never really reconnected with past friends before. You just have, like, your friends.
The argument could be made that I'm not very well connected with my current friends.
I remember one time I had a friend in high school who dated a friend that you had in high school. Shout out to Nate. And she saw a psychic at the mall, and it was right before they broke up, and she was like, "The psychic said I was having relationship issues."
Oh, speaking of Nate, we have an obligation. If there's any skinwalkers listening, Nate in Colorado needs a good scaring till he catches up on these episodes.
How is that allowed? So vaguely similar to that, like, future omens, wives' tales, things like that really freak me out.
Sure.
If I see a crow is getting too close, I'm like, I don't know about that. I won't be the first to stand up in a table of 13.
When has this ever happened to you?
If you're sitting in a table of 13 people, the wives' tale is the first one to get up, is the first one to die.
Interesting, but when are you ever at a table of 13
Sometimes
people?
in family get-togethers.
Do you count every time you sit down at a big
yes,
table?
I have obsessive-compulsive disorder. And I just gotta throw this in, Ouija boards. Fuck that.
Love a Ouija board.
No.
I want to play with a Ouija board.
No.
Okay.
Fuck that.
They're so fun, though.
No. I just will never play with the Ouija board.
Oh, well. Is that the conclusion of your topic 4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have one that, all jokes aside, I think you're going to be 100% on board with. When I was a kid, I got really scared by the movie Chucky, and it's still a little bit frightening. Jurassic Park 2, when I watched it until the part where the lawyer is on like the toilet and the Tyrannosaurus eats him, and I ran out of the room scared. So I'm still a little bit afraid of those two. I don't even know which Chucky it is because it was like on like TV at night. It was the one where like they were fighting in a factory, I think, and he got chopped up. Weird thing is, I finished Chucky and like he gets destroyed at the end of all of them, and I was still terrified.
I mean, he always comes back.
He does always
countless
come back.
reboots.
That's fair.
So you would say you're kind of scared of like a living doll or a dinosaur.
I'm more so scared of those movies, actually.
So, well, you could...
Because those aren't like real. But I'm like, the movies frighten me. I'm scared of horror movies sometimes, good ones. So Hereditary kind of scared me.
Yeah, like the concept of demon
as
cults,
portrayed in film, yes.
Like a haunted doll, you would...
Yeah, a movie about a haunted doll would be...
Well, no, like...
Yeah, definitely scary.
No, in real life, you're saying.
You mean just like a doll? Nah.
Okay.
Robert was a little like whoa at first, but I can see past it now to like the boy he once was.
Okay, so you're scared of like scientific advancements in, you know, like the dinosaurs.
If scientists figured out how to make movies like way scarier,
No,
like a 3D movie that was scary. I've never been to a 3D horror movie. That might be really scary.
So you were scared of 2 movies when you were a kid.
Yep.
So you can't even really watch them now, you're saying?
I probably could. You know, I think I actually have seen Jurassic Park since and it wasn't as scary.
Oh.
So maybe just Chucky.
Okay.
But I watched the new one of that and it was a little bit scary, I guess. Aubrey Plaza playing a mom was a little weird.
That's true. I got it. Yeah.
All right. So I'm crossing that one out and putting Aubrey Plaza as a mom. Okay. All right. Now I've changed that one. Let's go on to yours. Your final one of the night.
I just have...
Thanks for helping me with that.
Yeah. What is anyone... And it's also like, I'm giving examples that people can look into, you know?
They can watch those 2 movies.
Okay.
If they're kids, it'll probably scare them pretty good.
Okay. So my last one, we're getting a little philosophical, a little existential. The universe.
Just scared of the universe
Yes.
in general. I've run into that fear that you have so many times. Anytime I want to watch any like space show,
yeah,
or talk about like different planets or different stars, every single time you just fall immediately into an existential spiral.
Yes. Yeah, I have been getting existential crises since I was in 3rd grade. The doctor says it's dissociations.
Uh-oh. That's 4 out of 5 on our bingo of my brain hates me.
Yeah, imagine living with this hellscape. Yeah, so kind of more specifically, it really stresses me out, the idea of like the afterlife, whether there is a God or not. I'm very open to pretty much anything. Yeah. Kind of just like why the universe exists, how it existed, but that is stressing me out so much. I'm not going to talk about that.
That one is so distressing to you, we're not even going to cover it.
Yeah, I wanted to get into a more specific kind of Jungian things regarding dreams and like a collective unconscious.
The collective unconscious is, even to me, kind of like a frightening, not quite morbid, but
yeah, that's the thing.
An odd, unsettling curiosity to it.
It's very unsettling to me. So like the collective unconscious, and kind of going with that, lucid dreams and astral projection. That really creeps me out. And I think it has also something to do with the fact that I dream very frequently, very vividly, and I remember my dreams. I fear that I get stuck in my dreams.
Yeah.
Because it has kind of happened. Like, I have a lot of false awakenings where I'm dreaming and then I wake up, but I'm still dreaming.
That is technically just another name for you turning off your alarm again and again until you sleep till 11:30 on a work day.
Maybe it has something to do with turning off my 8-minute apart alarms.
Yeah, you were trying to describe like waking up and then being in another dream to me, and I'm like, that sounds suspiciously similar to when I'm really tired and like wake up and then start to fall asleep, and it sort of seamlessly morphs into a dream. I think you're just waking up possibly for an alarm and then falling back asleep and your brain interpreting that as a false awakening.
That's possible. I have false awakenings a lot. It kind of caused me problems, honestly, especially when I was in school. I would wake up and study or do homework, and then I would wake up an hour later and that didn't happen.
Unfortunately, I'm looking at the DSM right now, and dreaming about doing homework before you go to school makes you, clinically speaking, a nerd.
No! But kind of going along with that, so lucid dreaming and kind of more along the lines of astral projection gets me a little freaked out, because just the thought that there is more in the dream, like the dream's kind of a different state of unconscious, and like, what if you could do something with it? Astral projection scares my brother, because one time I played a prank on him when we were in like a crystal shop in Flagstaff, and I was like, if you touch that, you're gonna astral project tonight and get lost. And he was like, no.
The only reason that I don't completely condemn that is I know for a fact that mere moments after you saying that, you started to believe it a little bit yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like the thought of getting lost, I think. Or like astral projecting and not being able to come back to your body. Insidious. Fantastic movie.
A lot of good horror recommendations coming out of this one. And one horror recommendation for me, Skin Diamond.
A horror? Is that what you're saying? A horror recommendation?
Star, yeah.
Yeah, so going along with that kind of the universe, something that scares me, but once again, I kind of can buy, is like the idea of multiple universes, or we live in a simulation and it glitches.
Are you talking about like branching paths? Every multi-option event branches off into different universes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's like an infinite amount of universe. Don't even get me started on the concept of infinity. The fact that you can maybe like wake up in the other universe, like your consciousness that you have right now could get transferred.
Which is essentially Berenstein Bears.
Mandela effect.
Yes. Remember, I think it was under a month ago when you came to me and you were like, we should have a code word that we can signal to each other that we're from the same universe still.
Mm-hmm.
And then we came up with one.
Mm-hmm.
And then both almost immediately forgot it, which only served to frighten you.
It's Chris rockin' in the house tonight.
Is Chris Rock in the house down?
Cullen!
No, it actually is Chris Rock in the house down.
Oh my god. You're kidding me.
You forgot what it was. You've forgotten the last couple times that we've talked about.
Is it Berenstein or Berenstein?
I genuinely can't remember. I never really read those
I read
books.
them, yeah. But yeah, we have a universe safe word, which I need to...
Chris Rock in the house down.
Chris, I guess that sounds right.
I think you just universe-style Stockholm syndrome yourself.
Things like that scare me, and there's a lot of kind of interplay with paranormal topics, like shadow people. And once again, doppelgangers.
Doppelganger seems like a very clear connection, sure.
So there was one story where these friends were road tripping and they stop at a diner and like everyone knew their name, knew who they were, but they had never been there before. So just kind of like uncanny things like that. Uncanny things really unsettle me.
Well, there's one story that comes to mind that I think was legitimate and documented in like a forum, and it kind of suits more like one of my fears that I put on this list. But there's a guy who was saying that he was waking up and like seeing sticky notes that was from himself in different places, and Google searches and like stuff moving around, and he even set up a camera and saw footage of himself that he didn't remember, like writing those notes and doing things that he couldn't remember. And then it turned out that he had a carbon monoxide leak inside of his house, and that he was just forgetting things because of it, which is very dangerous, by the way.
Yeah, it's also scary in a very different way. A lot of this...
It's scary in a much more just Cullen kind of way.
Yeah. A lot of the comments display hater behavior, and that they'll be like, check your CO2 levels, or See if you did not have a grand mal seizure.
It isn't hater behavior if it's well-intentioned and a very reasonable explanation for these sort of mismatches in reality and perception.
There's a very classic story of a guy who lived his entire life. Like, he had a kid, he found a wife, he lived his entire life day by day, and then one day he noticed that, like, a lamp in his living room looked really weird, and oh god, I'm getting, like, the chills saying
Well, the AC just turned on, but fair
no.
enough. It did.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, okay,
Yep.
I'm getting freaked out, though.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then he realized, like, a lamp in his living room looked really weird, like 2D, like it didn't fit in the environment. And then he became obsessed with the lamp, and he was just looking at it, and he's like, why is the lamp like this? And then one day he was like, I know why the lamp's like this isn't real. And then he woke up and he had got punched in the head. And the whole thing was like a dream, but like,
He got
was
hit in the
it?
head with a lamp.
Oh my god,
Oh my
no,
God.
he just got punched.
To wrap up that last topic, it kind of falls into that Stephen King quote where it's fear is being afraid of something in the dark, but terror would be coming home and seeing everything like moved 2 inches to the left and you can't prove it.
Yeah, definitely like that. Also, I love the Edgar Allan Poe quote, like, all that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream.
I like that Edgar Allan Poe quote where he's like, a raven's got one hole and it does it all.
Awful. Terrible.
So do we want to get into my last one and wrap up the show?
Mm-hmm.
This one's kind of, I was running out of steam. This one's like a little bit lame. So when I was in elementary school, I remember hearing this like story. It might have been from my sister. It could have been from some kids in the grades above me. But I would think about it every day as I walked home that there was supposed to be like this monster or like a man that would follow along behind you, and you could hear like the rustle or the scrape of his feet or just his footsteps as he walked behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And he was entirely harmless until given one condition. If you looked over your shoulder, he'd stop with you. And then when you looked back, he'd keep walking and you'd hear it again. But if you looked back 3 times, he'd be standing directly behind you and kill you. And it's just in that pantheon of like young kid cryptid type stories, like Bloody Mary, Candyman, and this weird nameless thing. So yeah, like when I'd be walking home, I'd hear fucking, it even still happens to me. Like when I would walk back from campus in college, I fucking hated jingling in my backpack because it would move at the same like step of my walking, and I'd hear it and turn around. It's one of the really effective ones, like even more so for me than Candyman or Bloody Mary, because it's the don't look behind you, because you already did it twice. If you look behind you again, he's gonna be there.
Yeah. You know what? I'm impressed. I'm proud. That was a really good one.
My 5th one was actually gonna be cancer, but I got that. So
And you're like, yeah.
it wasn't that scary.
I thought your 5th one was going to be cancer coming back. And it's like, what could I say to that?
Yeah. Sorry, it's probably gonna happen.
No! What the fuck?
I don't know. It's like a 30% chance or something.
Jesus. I do like that one. I like the mocking of the Trinity. Like a lot of things that are scary and supernatural, demonic come in 3s. And like Bloody Mary, like the nameless thing you said. Beetlejuice. For this one, we recommend the movie Beetlejuice.
It does technically fall into just rules of 3 are really good in comedy. And
comedy.
in comedy and also in writing, rules of 3 are really good because there's 2 for expectations and the last. You know how I did like 4 ones that were lame and then the 5th one was real?
Yeah.
It's like rule of 3, rule of 5.
Rule of 5.
Rule of 5. Rule of 19. I wanted to bring this up. My favorite story-wise, maybe not the scariest, but story-wise, my favorite like spirits and cryptids and stuff are the ones with those like odd, logical, like put together rules. I feel like Japanese spirits, which I can't remember the name for, but they often are like really specific. There's like specific different types of demons and spirits.
Yeah.
And they do a specific thing, and if you interact with them in one way, it's fine. If you interact with them in another way, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's kind of ritualistic.
That really reminds me. A lot of Japanese spirits and folklore scare me. That reminds me of one I've heard. Forgive me if this is incorrect, but it's a woman ghost who shows up to you and asks if she's pretty. And like if you say yes or no, she'll do different but equally bad things. So I'm pretty sure you have to be like, you're okay.
Yeah, you have to give like a neutral answer or just not answer and leave. Those are always fun. Yeah, they have a very specific MO that they follow. And just for like general ghost things, I think one of my favorite theories of how ghosts would work also comes from Japanese mythology, is the same ideas that we kind of have about like how ghosts might haunt a house after that they've died in it. They'll just continue to live there. There's a very specific set of rules that you can follow to show a ghost that like there's new people in the house and it's time to leave. Like not leaving doors to rooms that aren't being used open, shutting off lights in rooms that aren't being used. Because if you leave them on and like give these conveniences, it'll feel to the ghost like they're still corporeally living there.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just live entirely like, we're the new people and we're here, and it's time for you to go because this isn't your house anymore, then they'll be like, oh shit, I haven't paid rent in like 80 years. These aren't any of my posters. We went to the moon? Shit.
That's the other side of the coin for me. It's like if I believe in these scary things, usually there's a way to destroy it. Like holy fire, silver bullets, things like that.
Yeah. And if you're out there and you're a Navajo witch hunter, please send us a letter. That'd be the coolest shit in the whole world. So yeah, there are our top 5 scary things to bring you through October 2020.
You know, if you want to, anything tickled your fancy, look into it. If you want us to do specific topic, like now, let us know.
Yeah, let us know if anything you want a little bit more in-depth on.
Yeah.
Just in case we tickled you, Nancy.
Nice. People are going to listen to me talk and be like, it's mental illness, love.
They're going to listen to me talk and be like, those are statistically valid fears to have.
Oh my god, no.
It's true. So, what do we even say to believe in?
Believe in the right for Native Americans to get their land back. And believe in yourself.
Believe in most people stopping at red lights and believe in yourself.
Nice. Good night. Have a spooky, ooky Halloween.
Happy Halloween from Anomalous.
Yeah, adios.
Amigos.